Okay, so 4-3 today, something you guys should really know very easily, right triangle trig. That's exactly what you guys did last year, okay? But we're going to start off with not something very nice. Well, not necessarily. Here's my theta. Remember, theta just represents kind of where you're standing, right? Does that make sense to everybody? If I'm standing here, what does this side represent? The opposite, because it's always the opposite of where I'm standing, right? Why is this not the or the adjacent? Because he's always the hypotenuse, right? Okay, and then this would be the adjacent. Okay, and as we know, the good old SOHCAHTOA, correct? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent opposite over adjacent. That should be very familiar to you. Would you guys agree with that? Okay, now, what if I said I want you to find all 6 trig functions if this is 15 and this is 17? All 6 trig functions. So what do we have to do? Well, we're missing a side, aren't we? How could we find that side? Because I don't have the angle, so I can't just go ahead and find it using the angle. Good old Pythagoras, right? Our buddy Pythagoras. We're going to call him just x right now. So we do know that x squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. And I believe that's x squared plus 225 equals 289. Am I correct in my 17 squared? Okay, subtract that over. X squared is 64. X equals plus or minus 8, right? But can I ever have a negative 8 on a triangle? So that's why it's just 8. Did you guys agree there? Any questions? Yes.
So, like
I'm not doing anything yet. What I just did there was Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So now I'm going to go into my 6 trig function. Okay? So I have sine of theta. Who is sine of theta? Opposite over hypotenuse. Remember the SO. S-O. So 15, 17. Which means that my cosecant of theta is what? Just that guy's reciprocal, right? So it'd be 17 over 50. Right? You guys good with that? Okay. I also know that the cosine of theta is cosine is adjacent, which is the 8 over the 17. So therefore I have the secant of theta is 17 over 8. Okay, whose tangent? Opposite over adjacent, so that's the 15 over the 8. And who would be that? That's the cotangent, who is 8 over 15. Any questions on that? It's pretty easy, right? We could all do that. What was the hardest part probably there? Finding the missing side. Did you guys agree with that? Yes, no? All right. Everybody good? Okay. So the other thing that we could do is we can solve triangles. Because if I tell you it's a right triangle, okay, and I give you any side and an angle, okay, any side and an angle. Let's say I give you this side is 8, but I tell you this angle up here is 33 degrees, and I want you to find x and y. Okay? How am I going to go about this? Huh? I could. Why can't I use just that one, though? Okay, so what if I stand here? Let's go ahead and solve for y first. Because that would represent what? If I'm standing up this way. We're going to use tangent. But if I'm standing here, that is opposite, right? And the side I have given is my adjacent, so opposite over adjacent would be tangent, right? So tangent of 33 gives me a specific ratio of opposite over adjacent, right? Okay, so what mode does your calculator need to be in, guys? That's the key thing. We better be in degree mode, right? So hurry and change that on your calculator. Now, be aware, on your test, you're going to have to switch back and forth. There's some things you need to be in radian mode. There's some things you need to be in degree mode. Depends on what it is. So be able to recognize which is which and flip back and forth, okay? All right. Well, how do I get something rid of divide by 8? Multiply it by 8, so I have y is 8 tangent of 33 degrees. Correct? Go ahead and tell me what we get. I got 5.195. Got a second? All right. So 5.195. We'll just go 5.2. Is that okay? All right. Now that's really, truly, we're pretty darn close, but that's an estimate. You guys know that's an estimate, right? Because we rounded and so forth. So give me a way to find x. What's now my option to find x? I could do Pythagoras, correct? Or I could stay here and say, okay, would I go and use him if I need to? Why would I not use him? Because he's an estimate, right? But if I'm standing here and I say, okay, I got the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Who uses adjacent and hypotenuse? Cosine. So I can come over here and say, okay, well, the cosine of 33 equals 8 over x. Would you guys agree with that? Do you understand why I would not use the 5.2 probably in my calculations? Because once again, I estimated that, so it's not going to be as accurate, right? Is it going to be really, really close? Sure. But it's not as accurate as it could be if I used the thing that was given to me. Make sense? Okay, how do I solve for x's in the denominator? What's my option? How do I get x out of the denominator? Multiply it to the other side. I like that. So I'm going to times x to both sides. What happens there? That gets rid of this, right? And I'm left with x cosine of 33 equals 8. Then what? That's timesing, right? So x is 8 over the cosine of 33. Go ahead and plug that in. Section over there, 9.538, so we'll just go 9.5. Does that answer seem reasonable? Let's talk about reasonable answers, okay? If, once again, you brought up, okay, Megan, that this is 33, right? What's this angle then? 57. Because once again, what should those two add up to be? 90, because I already have a 90-degree triangle, so I have to have 90 out of those two. Hey!
Hey!
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. This is just.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope, did you call her?
I can't. She's gonna interview 2 other schools.
No, I just think you can call. No. I thought you did.
Maybe I texted her.
Okay.
So.
Okay, you're awesome. I just want to see.
Awesome.
Have a good day. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know things about triangles, see how this side's 33 degrees? So this side, excuse me, that angle's 33 degrees. So this side better be the what? The smallest side. You guys know how that works? If this is 57, that better be the medium side. Is that in between 5.2 and 9.5? And this should always be the longest side because it's opposite the largest angle. Do we know that about triangles? That's how that works? So we can always justify to make sure that our angles and our answers are correct, right? Love you all. Okay. Any questions there? Okay, I'm going to let you guys try one. This time I'm going to give you your hypotenuse, and this guy is 70. Okay? Find the other two sides. Cowboy donuts, they're dang good donuts. You didn't help me teach my class yesterday. Did you? No. that was a lot of donut I just shoved in my mouth. One of those protein power balls. Hey, that was still recording while I was gone, huh? Nice stuff. Alright. So, somebody tell me what they got for X. Aaron's there, he's been talking a lot today, so hold on. No offense to Aaron. I got a 3.8. Okay, how do we get the 3.8 though? Tell me how you did it. Seems like people liked it. Can you tell me why you chose sine? Opposite over the hypotenuse, right? So I times the hypotenuse over and I got 3.68. That's what you said, right? Oh, 3.88. Okay. Yes? Anybody get a y value besides negative, besides Aaron, because we're talking? Go ahead. 0.9. How did you get it?
Well, I did it.
Okay, I'm okay with whatever way you did.
I just factored it in
Okay.
or I filled in together.
Okay, so you came up here and said, oh, that's 14 degrees, right? And then you said sine of 14 equals opposite over hypotenuse, right? Times that over. Okay, cool, I like that. What's another way to do it? Go ahead, Nick. Because that's the adjacent, right? Okay, nothing really hard today, right? Guys, we're doing okay? All right, here's how we're gonna, first off, 0.96, you said? 0.96, 0.96. Cool. All right. Good enough. Okay. One other thing really quick. How could I, obviously if this is 3 and this is 5, okay, how would I find this other side? Good old Pythagoras, and we know what this is. Everybody should know what this is without even doing it. Anybody know it? Go ahead, you said it back there. 4, because this is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, right? Okay. Hopefully you know some of the Pythagorean triples. They kind of come up quite a bit. You see those are nice, right? Okay, 3, 4, 5. But how would if I wanted you to find this angle? I want you to find the angle this time, not the side. Can I still do so? Sure. Okay, so I stand up here on this angle, and I have any option I so choose. I could use sine, I could use cosine, I could use tangent, because I have all 3 sides, correct? If I'm standing up here, let's go ahead and use cosine. So cosine of that angle is 3/5. You guys agree with me? Ladies and gentlemen, there's only one angle that can give me a cosine of 3/5. And that's where you use the button on your calculator above cosine. It says this button. Some people call it the inverse cosine. I was always taught to call it the arc cosine. Okay, and what this means is this doesn't mean 1 over cosine. I don't like this notation for the fact of the matter a lot of people think of, oh, it's raised to the -1, 1 over cosine. But what's 1 over cosine? Secant, right? It's not that. Does that make sense? Okay. So, this is, hey, I'm going to go ahead and apply my inverse cosine to both sides, and that inverse cosine gets rid of cosine. It leaves me just the angle. Okay? And then I plug this in, arc cosine of 3/5. I think you've already done it. 53.1? Okay. And then obviously I can find the other angle now because I have one. Does that make sense to everybody? So the function of this, or this is to find an angle. These are all to find an angle. That's their purpose. Okay? Those will always help us find an angle. Okay? Are you guys okay so far? Are we doing all right? Okay. Anybody know what time we got? Does anybody have that schedule? All right, so we still got some time. Okay. I'm going to do one more problem. My killer squirrel problem. Killer squirrel. You guys are just fortunate enough to be here on the killer squirrel day. Okay? There's this killer squirrel. He's out in the mountains. He's got this lovely tree. Sorry guys, my tree sucks, but you get the idea. There's my tree. Okay? And he's really protective. He's a killer squirrel for crying out loud. Okay? And if anybody gets close to his freaking tree, he shoots him down with his killer crossbow. He does. Killer squirrel. So, what we do is he has a certain point that people can get close to. It's this rock. Okay? This rock. If anybody gets close to that rock, done. Killer squirrel. Okay? So, we got my killer squirrel. He's all sitting up in here. He's all in his camouflage. That's my killer squirrel. Oh, hold on. You can throw that in there, huh? I don't know how to really draw a crossbow. That's going to be my crossbow. Just bear with me. I'm not artist. So the question is, he went into the local hardware store, because he's a killer squirrel. He can do that, I guess. And he got 100 feet of rope. Because what he does is he attaches that to the arrow, so that when he kills these people, he can't have evidence. Right? So he brings that, he's a superhuman killer squirrel. So he brings in that rope and then ties the people up. He's got tons of dead bodies sitting up in a tree because there's lots of people sitting around here trying to connect to this killer squirrel. Right? So, my question is, I just said he just bought 100 feet of rope. Okay? How are you, young lady? I don't have a bottle. I don't know where it's at. No, I'm good. You know, yeah, I got this bottle. You can go take this and,
Fill it up a bit.
Oh, never mind. I got some water. I'm good. You just relax. You're not feeling that great anyway. Right? So, if this, ladies and gentlemen, is, we don't know, hold on, never mind. I bought 100 feet, okay? But this distance here is 90 feet away from his rock. He's like, hey, I'll give you a 90-foot radius to my tree. That's it. Right over there. Makes you feel better, didn't it? Knowing where it's at. Okay, 90 feet, but he only bought 100 feet, so I asked him, did he buy enough rope? If his angle of depression is 29 degrees, does he have enough rope? Did he buy enough? Because what if all of a sudden he shoots and it's that far, and then now he kills the person, I can't bring him up. Well, even though he's superhuman. But, my question is, first off, this is an angle of depression. You guys know what that means? Okay, so here's what we got. We got two people, so let's, once again, we're imagining this, right? So is angle 1 or angle 2 the elevation, the angle of depression? Angle 2 is the angle of depression. Because if I look straight out and then I look down, that's my eyes pressing that amount of angle. Does that make sense to everybody? A lot of people get that confused. So angle 2 would be 29 degrees. So what is this angle right here? 61, because this is a right angle, right? Everybody good there? Well, we're assuming it's straight up down there. Okay. So my question to you is this, let's find this hypotenuse and see if it's okay that I bought 100 feet. Right? Does that make sense? No, I'm not the killer squirrel. Okay. Awesome. By the way, do you guys know what this angle is called? Angle of elevation. This right here would be angle of elevation. Okay? This is your story problem with the other two. All right. All right, so let's set it up. We want to find x. So I'm standing here with this side. Opposite this side is hypotenuse. So I have the sine of 61, right? Is opposite over hypotenuse. I do a little flipper flopper. This is what I do, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know cross multiplication? It's heard that? So therefore, I just got to flip those. That's really all I do. I can just flip those. If you're ever down there, just flip them. Tell me what we get. He did not buy enough rope. Now when he shoots this person, he's gonna go grab it, and he's gonna keep going, instead of re-clicking it. Now he can't pull enough, so he should at least buy 110 feet of rope. Maybe 150 so we can wrap up the body a little nice up the tree, right? Okay? You like my killer squirrel story? You hurt my feelings, whoever said no, it felt bad. Okay, I'm gonna put this up here, because I want you guys to think about it. Here's a building. Lovely building, huh? And then we have a radio antenna on it. I want to know the height of the radio antenna if I know if I go from 30 feet away, my angle of elevation is, let's say, 67 degrees. Okay, and then I walk another 50 feet, and my angle of elevation to the radio tower, or the top of it, is 53 degrees. What is the height of just the radio tower? How would I do that? Just this part. All I want to know. What do you think, Eric?
So could you solve for the sideline?
Of the building. So this first triangle tells me that length right there, doesn't it?
Yeah, and do maybe a second.
And the second triangle gives me the whole height, doesn't it? And then after that, just the side. Make sense? I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to throw up the homework. But that's how you go about that. You see how you just got to reason through things? Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You're on 4-3, page 308. You're doing 1, 3, 7, 11, 13, 17 through 29, odd. 43 through 51, odd. I should have just kept going. I should just make that all the way to a 67. 43 through 67, odd, and then 68. He's a kicker. I'm curious on how many of you guys can count that one out.
You know, the bottom one, what page number?
308.
Oh, that didn't go all the way through to it.
Okay.